Hey everyone, welcome to Basic Binges on the Nom Talk network. Mike is speaking right now in the third person because Mike was informed at the beginning of this show that the third person redemption was redeemed at the previous show on Wednesday. So Mike has to be punished for the sins of whatever happened from that previous show. Thank you to our loyal watcher Q for redeeming this and putting this upon us. But we could not do this show without you, and we love you. So this is going to be fun. We're going to be doing this for the first. Mike and crew are going to be doing this for the first 5 minutes of this Mandalorian chat. Having said that, Mike would like to give a shout out to Lucasfilm and Eggo Waffles for giving us Mandalorian waffles, even though they didn't give us Mandalorian waffles. Mike went and bought this on his own in the grocery store. But Mike is hoping to get sponsorships from Eggo later on because Mike likes Eggo waffles. That being said, Mike would like to introduce a panel of esteemed and wonderful guests who are here to talk about this epic episode of The Mandalorian. And Mike could not do any of this on his own. So Mike is going to introduce a panel of some of Mike's favorite people, starting with Julie. Julie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Would you also like Julie to say what she's munching on this evening?
That would be amazing. Yes, please.
Okay. I'm Julie. This is Grogu, and Julie is munching on some Mandalorian special edition goldfish and Go-Gurt because yes, we just did it up right at Target. And I also made a Yoda soda. So there's like a recipe that I found online. It's like lime sparkling water, lime sherbet, and lime juice. And it's pretty good. I'm drinking out of my Disneyland Batu glass, of course. And and I got some for some more sustenance, some pizza rolls that are gluten-free and supposedly healthy. So we'll give them a try from Sprouts. Or sorry, Julie will give them a try. My bad.
It's okay. Mike was about to say, but yeah. Thanks, Julie. All right. Mike would next like to introduce Whitney. Whitney, what are you drinking and eating? And yeah.
Hi, so Whitney is enjoying some delicious coffee in her Mandalorian mug because it is raining and it's cold outside. And I just got home a bit ago and got caught up in the rain. Oh, Whitney got caught up in the rain. So she is enjoying some coffee.
Excellent. Awesome, Whitney. This is the way, of course.
Yes.
Nice mug. And last but not least, Mike would like to introduce Mike's other colleague from the Nerds of Color, Mike.
Yes.
As if this couldn't get more confusing, right?
There's another Mike. So I am Mike, as Mike said, and I am munching on. I'll start with munching on, so I can explain what I'm drinking. I'm munching on Adventurefuls because Mike was guilt tripped by the Girl Scout cookies who gave the sad puppy dog eyes and said, "Okay, fine, I'll buy one box for you." I try to say I'm allergic to. I tried to say I'm allergic to peanuts, and then they say, "No, we got other cookies." Like, oh God, fine, I'll buy something. And then Mike is also drinking milk because it's caramel and chocolate, so it's going to stick around in the mouth. So I have milk in my Baby Yoda tin, and I'm still calling him Baby Mike's still calling him Baby Yoda. So yeah.
Well, nothing goes better.
Yeah. No, I see a lot of swag going on, so I also have another Mandalorian artwork from this. Yes. One's different from last week, so yeah.
It looks really nice, Mike. We love it, and yeah, I'm sorry, Mike is so happy with all the Mandalorian like excitement going on right now, because Mike doesn't know about you guys, but Mike thought that this was a pretty game-changing episode of Star Wars. And Mike was very surprised that there wasn't a whole lot of chatter about the game-changing nature of this, because Mike would like to point out this episode not only changes a lot about the series that we're watching, and enjoying, The Mandalorian, but also the Star Wars universe, because a long thought to be extinct species has just reemerged, which, if prophecies are correct, means that a new age of the Mandalorians is upon us. And there's nothing more exciting about that for Mike, and I'm sure for the whole panel here. Mike would also, okay, thank God. We're clear of the first person. We're clear of the third person, guys. Yeah, we can actually talk like normal people,
Yeah.
not Dwayne Johnson.
That's harder than you think it is,
It's really hard. You have to really
Yeah.
think about everything that you're saying, because I say I so much, like it's not even funny. But that being said, yeah, this was a game-changing episode, and I'm kind of it's driving me nuts how people aren't acknowledging how like stellar that ending is, how what Mandalore being inhabitable actually ultimately means for everything, so I really want to just kind of go around and get everyone's thoughts on this episode overall. Obviously you guys know that I loved it, but I'd love to hear what everyone else thought. Whitney, I'd love to start with you. What'd you think of this episode as a whole?
I loved it. I actually feel like I preferred it a little more over the first episode.
Me too.
I mean, I loved the action, the storytelling, and game changer, just instant game changer. We'll obviously dive into more specifics, but yeah, 100% I'm in.
Yeah, I love it. Julie, what about you? What'd you think of this one?
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. I was kind of like blown away by how much actually happened in this episode. Like I was kind of mentioning to you earlier, like I did not expect like all of this to go down in the second episode. I didn't expect them to reach Mandalore already. Like I kept thinking he was gonna be caught on all these side quests, but no, they're at Mandalore, and all this crap happens, and you're just like, whoa.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, like when you think about the fact that he's got a mission, you think that that's going to be the whole season-long mission, him going to Mandalore to bathe in the waters. We get it in the second episode, and I think that's actually brilliant. It's a wonderful subversion. By the way, how's the Yoda soda?
Oh yeah, I'm curious.
It's really good, actually. Yeah, it's pretty tasty. The lime juice really adds to it. Yeah,
that's awesome. Mike, what'd you think of the episode?
Well, I won't repeat what anyone else said, because this was a great episode, but I just have a greater respect for the puppeteering in this, because oh man, we got to see a lot of Grogu action in this thing, and
we did.
Yeah, so
Grogu's turning into a little badass. I kind of love it.
He really is.
I like what the 2 days with Luke before he rejects Luke. I mean, he turned into like a pro Jedi, right? I know, I love that. It's this whole episode starts out with Mando basically going to Peli Moss Pelimoto. What's Peli's last name? Anyways, Peli.
Oh.
Yeah. So he goes to Peli. Peli is of course scamming some guy off of his own ship, some poor Rhodian, which is kind of hilarious at the same time. But then he's like, "Hey, do you have this part for this really old IG unit?" And she's like, "Whoa, no one has that, but you can have this scaredy little R5 droid of mine, if you want to explore Mandalore." Mando's like,
I talk about that in a second too, about the IGTs. Okay. But...
Yeah, right. We should get into that actually. Julie, say what you have to say. What's up with the IGTs?
I mean, like we thought we were gonna get it's IG-11, right?
IG-11.
Yeah.
Yep.
We thought we were gonna get IG-11 back. We thought we were gonna get Taika Waititi back. I mean, we got him back for like a second, and then he went all crazy. And then she like manages to sell him this crappy droid, which I think is hilarious, and also a testament to how great of a con artist Peli is. She's one of my favorite characters. But I was a little disappointed. I was like, And we get not only that, but the droid is like nervous and scared and like not even a good droid. And you're just like, we could have had IG-11 back. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree 100%. I think it's kind of awesome though. And Mike, to kind of touch upon your point about the puppeteering, to convey a level of fear in these R2 units, these astromech mech droids, you know, without faces or voices or anything like that. It's like the cutest thing ever. The people at Star Wars really, Lucasfilm really know what they're doing, you know, and ILM. So I do love that. I love the R5 though. He was a nice little addition.
Yeah. He's growing on me. But like, if you're gonna like, there's a droid that literally died in a suicide blast. Like this is like a self-destruct, like, and then they tease that, and I didn't think we'd ever even think about him coming back again. And then they're gonna tease, oh, he might come back again. I mean, maybe it can still happen in this season, but like, I'm sitting there like, oh, I'm a little disappointed.
Well, if nothing else, he's going to make a very fine half of a statue. So there you go.
That's true.
I mean, yes, yeah. Was anyone else kind of disappointed that we didn't get IG-11 in this one? More Taika in this one?
Yeah, I was hoping for that too, especially, you know, it showed the statue and I was like, wait, what's this building up to?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you though it's a tease. I bet you they're going to bring him in at some point.
I think so.
You know?
I think
we're gonna see, like, at a certain point the chips are down, and then all of a sudden this IG unit's going to come on screen. He's going to be like, "Hey men, you want to get out of here? We can go and do like fun stuff, everything." You know, it's Oh, by the way, Q just redeemed hydrate, so everybody take a sip. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yep. But yeah, no, we also got a couple of awesome folks on the chat. Looks like we've got Boba Fett as well. Hey, Boba Fett LV, how are you? And yeah, of course, you and Q Ball, please feel free to redeem your Nom Talk points and make us do silly things. That's what we're here for. So that being said, yeah, we all kind of, we see Mando get conned by Pelly into taking the scaredy R5 units. R2 freak out with him to Mandalore, and as they're flying to Mandalore, he's continuing Grogu's lessons in navigation. He's like, this is where I grew up, this is where Bo-Katan was, where we visited her and she rejected us and she's living alone in sadness now. And then here is Mandalore, which is completely war-torn but still less sad than the planet that Bo-Katan is on, which is kind of no, I'm kidding. But they end up going to Mandalore, and you know, it's definitely just not, if you watched Clone Wars and you watched Rebels and you saw what Mandalore was, it's not that anymore. It's all barren wastelands of war-torn, destroyed, charred things after the Night of Thousand Tears. Mando lands there. He sends R2 freak out to go look for, test the atmosphere. What's that?
Spelunk.
Yeah, it's a spelunk, right? Which is an astromech droid should not be spelunking. It doesn't even have legs. Come on, guys. Like the worst choice. But yeah, he's testing the atmosphere and everything like that, and Mando discovers that it's actually breathable. But unfortunately, R2 freak out he disappears. R5, I keep calling him R2. He's an R5. R5 freak out. Disappears, and Mando's like, crap, I gotta save him. And he's encountered by a bunch of warlocks. I was going to say warlocks. Was meant to say Morlocks, even though they're not Morlocks. They're there's a name that Bo-Katan gave him. Forgot what it was.
It starts with an M. It starts with an M.
Yeah, I think it's. Hang on 1 second. Mando Morlock creatures. I don't know. Yeah, whatever they're called. Anyways, Alamites.
There we go.
There we go.
They're Alamites.
Right.
So yeah, Mando encounters a bunch of Alamites. They knock away his gun, and he's forced to pull out the Darksaber. And I'm bringing this up because I'm going to bring up the Darksaber a little later in this episode. But he's struggling with it because he still does not know how to use this thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's feeling the weight of it. but he manages to kill these Morlocks, or sorry, these Alamites, with ease, relative ease, even though it's kind of difficult lifting it, and discovers that the planet's inhabitable. So for starters, that was the first big game changer for me, was that Mandalore is actually inhabitable. It's not poisonous. It's not anything like that. I wanted to get your thoughts on how this first half of the episode kind of started out. Him going into Mandalore, the discovery of Mandalore being, inhabitable, and then the Alamite battle. Mike, Lee, yeah, go for it.
So I don't know, on the chat it says we have to not say the 5-letter M word, I guess, starting.
Yes.
So yeah, okay.
Okay,
So,
we'll just say
what was the question?
Din Djarin. Oh,
We'll just say
yeah.
Din. Yeah.
We'll just say Din. So what did you think of
Din.
Din landing into on the planet? Wait, does the word ban still count for the planet as well? Because kind of half of
yeah.
you know what?
That's
Screw
like,
it. Yeah,
that's
we'll
like half the word.
we'll take the challenge.
We'll just say the
take
planet,
challenge.
right?
Yeah, we'll say the planet. So
You know
so
what planet
when-
we're talking about.
yeah, we know what planet we're talking about.
The outer rim of this planet.
The
Yes.
outer rim of this planet.
Yes.
Not the offshoot moons of it, but yeah.
So, Mike, what'd you think of just this first half of Din landing on the planet and then battling these Alamites and R5 freak out, getting
I
lost?
thought it was
I
thought it was really interesting world building, because it's like we said, we haven't seen this planet since Rebels, I'm guessing. And to see it in its, wasteland kind of form, and Bo-Katan will tell about it about it, but when we see him going deep diving and everything, we see it was like this once like prosperous city, I guess, and all of a sudden, right now, it's just barren and there's non-existence. And Din keeps talking about how amazing this place was, how it once was so flourishing with a lot of people and everything like that. So it's interesting to see those kind of contrasts between then and now, and if we will see any of that, more of that backstory in a live action format. But yeah.
and he's never even been to this planet too.
Yeah, he's never been
which
to
is
the
kind of
planet
interesting.
either.
He's
Yeah.
never been to this planet. So
He was
I
on
found that
Concordia, so yeah.
Yeah, he was on Concordia the entire time. But yeah. Julie, what about you? What'd you think of this first part of the episode?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. I was full of anticipation. Like he said, we've never seen early Mandalore. I mean, and I didn't watch the Clone Wars. I know, bad Star Wars fan.
No.
I feel like I should
It's all right.
at some point.
I watched bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
I prefer Rebels over
so
Clone
I
Wars.
didn't really know much about the
too.
history other than what we've seen on the show so far. And I was just so curious as to like what he was gonna find. And then like he was saying world building, like it's just this whole place, but it's obviously very different than it was. And also I just kept thinking, like, I mean, I know like Mando, are we still not supposed to say that?
One more minute from now.
I know
One more minute.
Din is my bad. I know Din is like fearless or whatever, and like he's confident, knows what he's doing, but I just kept thinking like, oh Lord, he just keeps going deeper and deeper into this cave, hasn't a clue what he's freaking gonna find, and I'm just sitting there being like nervous, like I know he's gonna run into some shit, like
It's really interesting because I'm gonna be honest, like we've seen Din Djarin just be like the best of the best in terms of the badasses. He knows how to navigate this galaxy. He's never lost. This is one of the few times where I genuinely thought to myself, he does not know what he's doing. He is out of his league, and he is lost, and he doesn't. Even maneuvering the Darksaber. And the irony of that is, this is his culture. This is the thing that he's so dedicated to, and he doesn't know a damn thing about it in reality. Which is really. It really gives that theme of blind faith like a whole new perspective and definition. But
and I think we're seeing an interesting side of Din that way too, is like, last season we saw where he was so torn with his creed, like where he was so torn whether as to take his helmet off and all this stuff, and then he realizes maybe he can, but now he's kind of back to square one because he doesn't have anything else to lean on. but I think also he's still seeing, like you said, how much he doesn't know. And, you know, there's probably way more to this creed and way more to the culture than he realizes. So, yeah, it's interesting.
It really is interesting. I'm going to dive into that a lot deeper because there's going to be another character that's the polar opposite of Din coming up, which I think is going to be very interesting for us to talk about. But Whitney, I wanted to get your thoughts on this first part of the episode. Him landing on Mandalore becoming inhabitable, and then you know, battling the Alamites with the struggling with the Darksaber, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, we discussed briefly, I thought he wouldn't reach Mandalore till later on. And
Yeah.
so to get that in the second episode so quickly is exciting because it's just going to get it's going to get grand from here on out. And so having him finally arrive here and following blind faith, because, you know, he's very dedicated to this culture. And he's like, you know, these waters, you know, these powers exist. That's very telling on him and his beliefs and his character in general. And for him to arrive and it's just kind of like this wasteland, and to believe this was once this like prosperous civilization, like not to draw parallels to like Game of Thrones and like old Valyria and like dragons being extinct, you know, and all of that. It's just very reminiscent of that. So I'm getting very excited. So
I am too, honestly.
I'm super excited.
There's so much about like house crees or clan crees, I should say. Not house, but I'm thinking Game of Thrones as well, right?
Yeah.
There's so many beasts. There's so much politics. You could do an entire series dedicated to old Mandalore.
That'd be so dope.
And it would be so amazing. Just like a House of the Dragons type spinoff where Mandalorians are riding on the backs of mythosaurs and battling and conquering things.
Seeing it at its peak.
Yeah, its glory even before the Bo-Katan days, or in the pre-Vizsla days would be, or Paz.
Paz. Oh, that'd be amazing. That would be really cool.
I think they could do it.
Tar Vizsla.
Everything's shelved.
Sorry, Tar Vizsla was the original one, right? He was the original Vizsla, right? Tar Vizsla.
Jedi bounty.
Yeah, that'd be great. So Mando, of course, you know, battles the Alamites. He's like, hey, the air's breathable. Let's go, Grogu, because I'm not leaving you in this car by yourself to die. And it's great that he did. it's great that he did, you know. Yeah, I mean, if he cracks the window open,
next week
maybe
drive by and say, "Hey, you left the baby in your store." You know, I mean that's going to be a ticket right there.
Space Karen is like, "Hey,
Space Karen, I'm done."
Space Karen
breaks it.
That would be hilarious.
The Karen of the Alamites.
Like, I thought this place was in. Oh my god, it's like an Alamite with like blonde hair and like
bomb, but it's like super photoshopped, you know, like
that'd be hilarious.
That'd be so amazing. That's another spin-off that we're gonna pitch to Lucas.
Yes, 100%.
The Karens of Mandalore. The real Karens of Mandalore. Yeah.
The real Karens.
But yeah, he takes Grogu with him because he is a responsible parent, and you know, takes him in. He's a responsible parent that takes Grogu into certain danger, in these ruins of Mandalore. There's all these creepy ass creatures there, and he stops and sees this old helmet, something that looks a little bit like this, just like buried in the sand. And he like picks it up and he's expecting it, and then all of a sudden something like traps him and ensnares him, and he's like this gigantic freaking crab robot thing comes out from under the dirt, and thank God Grogu, you know, is like somewhere away from there, because Din gets captured and this thing takes him back to this weird creepy ass underground lair. And Grogu's following what's you know, his dad to make sure that his dad's okay. And we find out that the spider bot is inhabited not by something cool like Penny Parker, but like this eyeball thing, you know, it's like machine inside a machine. And we still don't know what this thing is, right? Like, I don't think anyone knows what the character is. But it's sentient and it's creepy, and you know, it's got Din in this weird barbecue cage type thing, you know. I mean, when you guys saw this, what did you guys think? Like, what was going through your head? Julie, I'll start with you.
I was just trying to figure out what was going on because yeah, I mean, like, we know the creature's a robot, but then yeah, it kept coming out of it with more robots, like a Russian nesting doll type situation. Like, and I was just like, are we gonna get to see this actual like creature inside of it? Like, we never really did, I guess, in this episode anyway. And I'm still not convinced as to what actually happened to it. We can talk about that later because that's towards the end of the episode. But yeah, and I just was like, well, this is a situation we haven't seen Din necessarily in before. I mean, he's been like captured before, but not quite like this. Like, you know, he's like completely immobilized in this cage, and like, I don't know, they're like draining fluids from him or blood, or I couldn't figure out what that was. So it was all just very curious, and I was like, well, since Grogu was like on his way to get help, was like, well, he has to get him out of there. So I wasn't like too worried, but I was a little concerned for what was going to happen at the time being. You know?
Yeah. It's really suspenseful moment, and I think it is his blood. That's like the creepiest thing of all about it.
Yeah, and you know, what is he doing with that? What is he gonna do with it? Does he eat it? Does he test it? Is he testing it? Like, I don't know.
Whitney, any thoughts, theories, anything like that? Weird robot eyeball.
Yeah, I mean, I was just as perplexed. I'm like, what is going on? Trying to figure out what this character is or what this species is. And then when he's trapped, it was kind of interesting seeing him in a vulnerable situation because, you know, I mean, he's badass regardless, but like he's stuck there, and I was like, how is he going to get out of this? You know, is Grogu going to be able to help? So for a minute, I'm kind of wondering, in what fashion is he going to escape from this creature? So I definitely was, I got I was like, I don't know how he's going to get out.
We've never seen him that vulnerable, honestly.
Yeah. That's why it's very interesting.
Very shocking to see. Mike, what about you? What did you think of all this?
I'm not sure what I can add, but it seemed very out of character that he's usually careful. To me, he's usually more careful than this. And
that's true.
Just to see him really slip up, it's like, wow, that's a whole new thing. Like you were saying, it's vulnerable and everything like that. So it just, and more to Julie's point, I'm now interested in seeing what this, you know, robot it looked like a little stop motion little thing too, but what this robot's purpose is for, you know, Din's blood. Can we say Din, or do we have to say
we can say. Oh, by the way, we're cleared. Yeah, we're cleared. We get the word band's fine.
The word. So we have Mando for Mando's blood, because it seems like he's been down in that you know, hovel for a long time, and I think that was the same kind of level where Din found the helmet, right? Or was it upper? So
I think it's around the same area. Sorry.
Yeah, around the same. So it seems to me that he's been hunting like surviving Mandalorians probably, but
that's a good point.
That who knows how long that thing was down there for, you know, hunting for things. But yeah, sorry, Julia, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I just saw somebody said in the chat that Din was being cooked alive on the spit roast. The best Scar's like aluminum foil, it seals in the flavor. Dinner is ready. Oh my god.
Wow.
That was not what I was thinking, but that could be a thing.
I mean,
I'm sorry, I'm sideways now. My phone.
No, it's all good. And I that's one of my friends. Shout out to you, Andy.
Nice.
I really love the puns, and you know, for anyone who hasn't tried Mandalorian, it does taste a lot better when you seal in the flavor.
Yes,
inside
of course.
yeah, everybody knows that, right?
I have great recipes for that.
They come with a spear. They come with a Beskar spear already too, so you can just.
That's adorable. It's just like
carving up Mandalorians with
recipe for Mandalorian cooking.
A kebab.
Oh man, like there's a
book.
there's a book there that says how to cook Mandalorians. Like,
how to cook meat, basically. There's a spear, and I'm already sealed.
Oh man, it is a creepy looking son of a bitch though. That little eyeball thing. I mean, like, did not like it. Two redemptions. One we'll like more than the other, but first, Everyone hydrate. Thank you, Cue Ball, for giving us an opportunity to toast. Now for the less fun one. Third person has been redeemed once more,
Oh,
guys.
boy.
So,
Mhm.
Boba Fett, this is for you. Yeah. Mike is going to try and do everyone a favor and talk for as long as possible, so less people have to do this. But since Mike is kicking things off, Mike is going to summarize. Right after Din is captured, Grogu tries to break him out, and he's doing the right thing. He's using the Force to try and bust the machine open, get his dad out. Unfortunately, it's not stealthy enough. Why would it be? I mean, it's a big ass machine, and the stupid eyeball creature like catches him, and Grogu's got to book it, and Din tells him, get to Bo-Katan now. And thank God he showed him how to read the map because he knew exactly where to go. And thank God R5 Freakout knows how to autopilot to different places. So Grogu's fleeing the creepy barbecue pit, and things are chasing after him left and right. This giant Alamite comes in front of him, and then we just see him get thrown out of the cave because Grogu's such a little badass. And then Grogu, Jedi flips into the Star Cruiser, and he and R5 autopilot to the Sadville planet of the Mandalorian system, which is where Bo-Katan is just wallowing in misery there with the biggest thundercloud over her.
I mean, basically.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, as annoyed as she is by Din Djarin continuing to bother her, this symbol of how she lost the Darksaber continuing to bother her, she's still actually really legitimately concerned because she sees Grogu and she's like, wait, what the fuck? What happened to him? Oh, sorry. What the hell? What happened to him? And downloads the data and sets off to rescue Din. So Mike is going to stop there. And hopefully that was close to 5 minutes synopsis, but if not, Mike would like to apologize. Mike is going to pass it off to Mike to see what Mike thinks about Bo-Katan and the triangle of sadness that she's in, as well as her springing into action to save the day. We have 2 minutes left, and Mike is still trying to.
Mike, I think Mike can do it.
2 minutes.
I think Mike can do it because it's easy.
We'll let Mike do it.
Been practicing, but Mike sees this as Bo-Katan's chance to, I guess, break away from the rain cloud that you said she was under. So, because like you said, Grogu was like pointing to like go there, and then he's like, that part I was again going with the puppeteering. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Just even the little things, but after Mike watched that whole thing, seeing Bo-Katan being able to get an opportunity to, I guess, do something that just will prove her character that's it's not as glum or gloomy as she was first out when we first saw in the first few episodes was great. And just to see her explain to Grogu from her perspective what Mandalorian is was really amazing too. So yeah.
Mike really appreciated those moments as well, and this really is a chance for Bo-Katan to get out of that rain cloud, and get back into the world, as it were. Whitney, what did you think of all that? I guess.
I mean, yeah, like not to shadow the exact sentiments, but to shadow the exact sentiments. I mean, she's been stuck here for a minute, and like you said, this is her chance to not necessarily redeem herself, but to kind of get out there and have purpose and have a quest once again. And she does care. She really does. And even though, the whole saber situation pretty much sucks for her, completely understandable. Understatement. She she does care enough to go help out. And I really appreciate that about her character.
It very much speaks to who Bo-Katan is as a character, and the kind of good hero. It really, there's no other term for it, that she is, because despite the fact that Din is a walking reminder of failure,
100%.
But I have.
Din represents he represents the 50th time she's lost the Darksaber.
God.
Everyone's respect. No,
I could have given it to you, but you're too stuck to your creed.
Yeah,
I yield. No,
and yet she's still willing to save him. She still recognizes him as some semblance of a friend, which is really interesting. Despite the fact that she sort of lost everyone as a result of him getting the Darksaber from her. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head. What a character. We'll dive into that because she's so goddamn cool in this, guys.
She really is.
We'll dive into that in a bit. But Julie, what do you think about Mando and Grogu's maneuvering, and then also getting Bo-Katan and her situation, her springing into action too?
Yeah, well, Grogu is just getting so smart. Like, I can't even with that kid. Like, first of all, can we just say, like, I didn't think it was possible. Like, he gets cuter every episode. Like, you're just like fall more in love with him. So not only is he cute now, but he's even more badass now. So he's like the best little like cute child that you'd want by your side, because he can be cute but also defend you and kick the crap out of bad guys. Like, what? Like the best of both worlds there. Yeah, no, and that was really cool. Like, I was like, wow, he's really, really learning a lot, because he just like, he knew exactly what to do. He went straight to Bo-Katan, figured out how to get there, got her there, showed her where Mando was, and like all of that. So yeah, and I echo everyone's sentiments about what they were saying about Bo-Katan. It was cool to like see this side of her, like talking about Mandalorian, Grogu, and whatever. But I also say, like, I don't know if I'm the only one, but like, I don't know if I 100% like trust her. Like, I want to, but like, there just seems like there's some possible little personal agenda. Like, I don't necessarily. Sorry, my phone did a weird thing. Like. I don't think she necessarily wants to like harm Mando and Grogu, but I also think that she is kind of like out for herself too. Like, and there might be some little agenda there that if she gets the chance, she might, I don't know. I also, because I know like she really wants the Darksaber back, and I'm kind of wondering what she's gonna do now that she kind of got it back. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but like, there's like a hint of like distrust there. Like, I don't know. Like, I like her. I love her character, and I never really saw it as much before, but now in these last couple of episodes, I'm kind of like, I just sense a little something. So I don't know.
I think it's entirely fair, especially in the place that she's in right now. I will say this though, Julie. If you haven't seen Clone Wars or Rebels, now is the perfect time to seek out the episodes with Bo-Katan.
Okay.
Because she is incredible in both of those shows. And you see she's in the worst place imaginable in this live action series. But if you see her at a time where things weren't so bad, where Mandalore was flourishing and prospering, you see someone who's a lot less, you could trust her a lot more in this one. There's a reason Ahsoka Tano trusts her, for example.
Okay.
All
right.
And there's a friendship.
Now I actually want to watch those and see, because
I definitely encourage you to do them, because they're very good episodes. It's Katie Sackhoff as well in the show, in the cartoon as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so they this is the first time, one of the few times they've taken an actress or an actor that did the vocal work and then made them the role.
Which is a brilliant choice.
Which is a brilliant choice.
Love it.
Yeah. There's no one else really. you know.
It doesn't always work to translate that way, but like in this instance, I couldn't imagine a different casting for her. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Shout out to Boba Fett who said this comment. I was wondering what the hell the creature was looking for the whole time. What the hell that creature was looking for the whole time Grogu was flying into space, getting help, coming back, and this dude is still searching for something. It's a really good question. I'm assuming Boba Fett, you mean the eye creature. And I think it's, you know, to answer that question, probably his contact lens. Yeah, sorry. Like a terrible dad joke, guys. Sorry.
It's like
Wait, I missed
Family
it.
Guy bit with the Eye of Sauron looking for his contact.
Where is it? Where is it? I love that bit. That was actually really funny. That was a good bit from Family Guy. Okay. Let's see. Other people are saying, I think the perception right now is Bo wants her people to unite, but under her rule before this episode. And yes, absolutely. To Andy on the chat, that's absolutely what I think as well. I like that they do that a lot on The Last of Us. Very true, Boba Fett. And also shout out to another awesome Pedro show, which, by the way, if you guys want to watch our recap show on Monday, we do that on the Nom Talk Network as well. And then, right now, the common thread she shares with Din is that they both have the same loss of their home world. Yes and no. So it is Mando's home world in spirit, but remember, he didn't grow up there. No, it's extra worse for Bo-Katan, who did grow up there. And But after all that, getting back to that, she arrives back on Mandalore, and it's no longer the home that she knew. It's kind of eerie because everything's just destroyed, except for stupid goddamn Alamites that are still down there, apparently. And stupid eyeball
and weird
things.
Robot creatures, and those weird creatures with the spiky tails.
Like the dinosaur bats, you know.
Dragon-esque bat.
The dragon. And she goes there, and she and Grogu get out, and she, from the get-go, she is just goddamn awesome because she stops, she looks on the ceiling, she already knows what's around there because again, this is her home world. It is not Din's home world. So Din didn't know what the hell he was doing. Yeah, she knew exactly what the hell she was doing.
Absolutely.
Blast the ceiling, the Alamites fall down, and she's just kicking their asses. She brings out something which, by the way, if you're a nerd and you love seeing her in the cartoon shows, she had a little laser shield on her wrists that she'd pull out every now and then. We get to see her Captain America shield just come out. And,
nice.
It's really awesome. And she's battling the Alamites doing that. She gets to where Eyeball is and where Din is, and Din's just getting his blood drained. And she tries to release him, but that thing attacks her, and she's battling it with her shields and her guns, but it's not doing anything. She gets thrown aside, but what does she see to her just on the ground right in front of her? The dark saber, her dark saber. I'm going to say her dark saber, and she harpoons it over. And we see a complete night and day in how she's using the darksaber and her shield versus how Din was struggling with it.
No, she's handling it like a veteran.
Yeah. She's handling it like a veteran. And it's because no one else has lost that lightsaber more than anyone else in the series. Because she knows it way better than everyone else in the world. She's the most qualified person to use it, which 100%. I do have a hot take about that that I'll share at the end of this episode. But she's swinging it like a badass. She manages to cut that thing down. The stupid thing doesn't die. And she's about to release Din. It attacks her again, and then finally she's able to slice it and get it down right before Din passes out. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to ask what you guys thought about Bo-Katan and just being a freaking badass for at least 5 to 10 minutes right then and there. Whitney, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I mean, 100% badass, and just seeing her just using the saber like it's meant to be used is just it's glorious. It's glorious because Mando him, like it's symbolic that he's struggling with it physically and obviously mentally, having the responsibility of the saber, but just having her just kicking ass, I just feel like that's definitely what we needed to see. And I feel like that definitely made her feel some kind of way as well. You know, that definitely gave her a lot of motivation, and maybe like that motivation that she was missing because she was stuck in kind of this sort of depressing state. I think she's pretty badass.
Nothing like a near-death experience to motivate you into action.
You know.
Right? Mike, what did you think?
I can't really add anything more than what Whitney already said, but I really hope that she finds a way to keep it this time. Maybe. I mean,
yes, I know, right?
She'll say
add
like
a keychain to
it. She'll tell Mando, you know, I didn't see it. You
like,
lost it. What do you mean you lost it? I didn't. We were just supposed to keep it. You know? So yeah. But in all seriousness, I hope she finds a way to, you know, keep it, and Mando can finally give it away, because clearly it's not suited for him. So
yeah. Julie, what about you? What'd you think about her just being a badass, handling the dark saber, saving Din, all that?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously she's a badass. Like, there's no two ways about that. But yeah, and like you said, it was like night and day the way they handled it, and I noticed that right away. That was the first thing that stuck out to me. I was like, wow, she's definitely maneuvered this thing before. She knows it. She knows what it's like. She knows the little ins and outs of it. And I think I would agree. Like, I do want her to find someone to end up with it, but I kind of just want her to work it out with Mando, like with Din. Like, I want him to like realize that it should go to, because he's already not necessarily wanting the responsibility, like you said. And I don't know, I just want them to work it out and be like one happy little family. And
Moff's not there, dude.
What's that?
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say Moff's not there to say like you can't do that. So
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but we'll see. I think that could happen. I think that this season has potential for that to happen. I sort of feel like the way they're really like hitting home about the way that he's handling it, and the symbolicness of each of them, the way that each of them handles it and stuff like that, and the way they're trying to like nail that point home. I think that's maybe what they're getting at eventually, is like he will eventually figure out a way to have her have it, maybe, but I don't know, we'll see. And
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, sorry. Oh, just because we were talking about the battle, I also just wanted to say that like I'm not 100% convinced that creature, the spider robot creature, whatever, is dead, but like I don't know. I'm also trying to figure out, like, is he robot or is he like creature, like sentient, like, or is he like a fusion of the two? Because the way that she killed him or defeated him at the end, because like I said, we don't know if he's officially dead or whatever, at the end, like, makes me think like he could be like a fusion of the two, because she stabbed like the armor and he still went down. So I'm like, I don't know, I'm just curious about that too.
Now that you're mentioning it, I actually am thinking about something. It's not uncommon in the Star Wars universe for characters to die, but then really get their parts replaced magically with cybernetic things.
That's true,
to actually rebuild themselves. If this guy is harvesting blood, and you know, for some reason, maybe he's trying to rebuild a body for himself. There was a lot of people that they were saying, hey, you know, this creature sort of reminded them a little bit of like Grievous. And
yes,
yeah, I was gonna say
that's
Grievous,
what I thought initially.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, is that the same kind of species? I was like, no, but 100% same Grievous vibes.
yeah,
Instead of
right,
lightsabers, he's collecting Mando DNA, basically.
Yeah.
like how mind-blowing would it be if it's like a part of Grievous that like
right? Could you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, it would be nuts. Like, crazier things have happened in the series, because you know, we've seen characters die off in prequels but get resurrected in the cartoon shows. Most notably Maul, you know, was the biggest one, I think. So to have a character like Grievous potentially come back in the form of the Mandalorian, but just parts of him looking to rebuild itself into something.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't Grievous also have like an electric staff thing? I don't remember. But
I
he
think
did,
he did.
right?
Yeah.
I think he did.
Interesting.
The pieces are coming
Yeah.
together, guys, physically and literally. But yeah. Everyone hydrate. Thank you, Cue Ball, for giving us a break. Yeah. Andy is pointing out people still don't believe Cad Bane's dead either. I certainly hope he's not dead, because that would have been the stupidest way to go out. I agree.
I was gonna say,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
And
Oh,
then,
yeah, that's right.
yeah, Cad
Yeah.
Bane, the biggest badass like gunfighter
Mhm.
ever, one of the best
Just
bounty
out like
hunters
that.
ever. Just out like that. You know,
Yeah.
killed by respect, apparently. Because that's what Boba Fett stood for, was respect. So and then we got one more redemption from Cue Ball, which is "You're so punny," and this is for Whitney. Whitney, we gotta throw a pun your way, or you gotta throw a pun our way, I suppose. I think that's where the rules go.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
How did Vader know what Luke got him for Christmas?
How?
He felt his presence.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yes, that was perfect. That was perfect. Yeah, I mean, that was hopefully Cue Ball that satisfied you too. And then also just a couple of other comments. Let's see here. I saw one here about Rebels. Oh, yes. Sorry. Bo-Katan. Sorry, guys. I'm brain fart right there. Bo-Katan, the harpoon trick where she grabbed the Darksaber with her harpoon. Learned that from Sabine Wren. And if you guys don't know who Sabine Wren is, she is so awesome, and we're going to meet her soon. We're going to meet her very soon.
It's so exciting.
Well, some of us are going to meet her again because we've known her and we've loved her. We'll see a much more adult version of her, I suppose, you know, in the Ahsoka series. But she is also a Mandalorian. One of the more interesting things, I guess, that I wanted to ask you guys about, you know, if you watched, and again, for those out there who haven't watched Clone Wars and Rebels, there are several episodes of both series dedicated to the myth of the Darksaber. I definitely recommend watching at least those episodes, because if you did watch them, one of the funniest, well, not funniest, but like not haha funny, but interesting funny things about it is the Darksaber in Rebels, which takes place several years after Clone Wars, is discovered in this temple by Sabine. And eventually, the way that Bo-Katan gets the saber, again, because she lost it before, is that Sabine Wren hands it to her. That is ultimately what the armorer was referring to when she called Bo-Katan a cautionary tale, because she didn't win it in combat, and it ended up cursing the Mandalorian race.
Right.
And everything like that. We are starting to see in this episode that the curses and the superstitions and the rumors about things being poisoned or bad luck or all of that, that's being challenged by reality, the reality of the situations, the truth. And I think that that's actually very interesting. So what I wanted to ask was, if we are saying that because of the principle and the belief that that Bo-Katan has to win this Darksaber in combat in order to rule Mandalore, is why people ended up turning her away. Do we think that there's a chance that people might realize that you don't need to actually win this thing in combat, and that Din Djarin will actually have an opening to just actually give it to Bo-Katan at some point in time? You know, I mean, do you think that's possible? And how do you guys think that that kind of relates to the overall themes of what we're seeing so far in these two episodes about the questioning of all of these beliefs in the creed itself? Yeah, free for all, whoever wants to.
I mean, I hope that is what kind of goes down, because then I feel like Bo-Katan deserves that saber, whereas maybe the mythosaur is going to be more of Mando's thing, you know, so everyone gets, you know, so then he can kind of bring that back and maybe start writing that and taking care of that aspect of things. And then she has the saber, so everyone wins. I don't know how that would kind of come about necessarily, but I feel like that would be a pretty cool, satisfying thing, at least for me.
Yeah. Anyone else? What do you guys think?
I agree with that. I definitely, I would like to see that. I mean, I definitely think you asked if it was possible. So yeah, I definitely think that the writing could 100% go that way. I think that the writing has been a little like, I don't think it's been necessarily like super, super predictable. So I don't necessarily know like what direction they're going to go, but that's definitely a direction that they could go. And I think a lot of people would like it to go that way. So yeah, I think that'd be really cool to see. Also because of what we've been talking about, because I think they're trying to like, take down some of the tenets or the creed or whatever of Mandalore and say like, not all of this, like you don't have to follow this 100%, like kind of thing, like maybe since they're kind of going down that road a little bit, maybe it'll bring it back to also like it's not set in stone that the dark saber has to be one as well.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
Be interesting if the Mandalorian race starts to challenge the ideas of these Old Testament creeds,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah, I think that would be very interesting because it, like I said, there's hints of that already, and so it'd be interesting to see more of that.
Mike, any things to chime in?
No, not so much. I just pretty much agree with, along with as time goes on, things get adapted, changed, and modified for the current timeline, I guess.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised, like everyone's been saying, that the passage or the passing of the light, the dark saber would be also changed in a way that is more acceptable. So we'll see.
Yeah. Literally, I think we're pretty much at the end of the episode where Din wakes up. He tries hog soup for the first time, which is ironic because again, he's so hardcore about being a Mandalorian. He's never had this thing that every Mandalorian kid has grown up with. Right. It's just the funny thing is the person that grew up with all of this that actually knows everything about it, she's the one that lost the faith. And he's the one who knows nothing about this and is retaining the faith. So what I love about this episode is it's the start of the character arcs for both characters kind of helping each other. I think Din, who is so dedicated to this faith, is still going to persist to bathe in the living waters of Mandalore. And she doesn't believe in any of this crap, but she's going to do it anyway because she actually knows where it is. And if he just goes off on his own, he will probably get killed by, I don't know, a hand this time or some shit like that. But yeah, like she actually leads him there. She tells both as a narrative device, but also to Din, who doesn't know, of Mandalore the Great, the man that tamed the mythosaur and became the first ruler of Mandalore. Talks a little bit about her past as a princess, essentially an heiress, and her dad who fought and died to protect Mandalore. And Din, finds the waters, takes off his stuff and goes for a little bit of a, I would say it starts out as a wade, but then it turns into a drown because Din is just, clumsy today. It's an off day for him.
It's just an off day.
It's an off day for him.
We all have
kind
one.
of is. I mean, he kind of ran into a lot of crap this day.
It's a pretty bad day.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I would say.
Really not a good day.
It all started with the R5 unit. It's like, I did not come here for an R5 unit. I came here for an IG-11 thing.
I mean,
and it's downhill from there.
I mean, really, it begs the question: who's the cautionary tale, Bo-Katan or Din Djarin?
Honestly,
don't freaking go swimming with your armor on. I know that it's the way, but it's also the way to drown.
Yeah,
so.
The way.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
But he takes that first step, down to the bottom of the ocean. Bo-Katan has to rescue him again as she's flying up. Probably one of the most gorgeous moments I think I've ever seen in all of Star Wars history. It's a very dark moment, but it's meant to be dark. But we start with a tusk. That's the first thing that we see. and it's a gargantuan tusk, and at first we're like, are these like remains, are these bones, are these fossils? And as we go up, the tusk belongs to this creature with a different eye, not the eye that we saw earlier today, but a different gargantuan eye. And we realize it's a freaking living mythosaur.
Mythosaur!
Yeah.
I was so excited. I was screaming. I was like, yes!
Yeah. I was like, no way. I was so I was so incredibly blown away by that, because this is a creature that we've only heard about or read about or anything like that. We've never seen it in story. We've known it since the days that Boba Fett was first introduced, the crest on his outfit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually get to see it in the flesh.
Mhm.
And Bo-Katan rises up out of there, not sure what she saw.
Yeah.
But I think you can guarantee that she's ending this episode starting to believe again, starting to
Yeah.
There's like an emphasis on her, being very skeptical.
Yeah.
And now, wow. That's I can't wait for this next episode.
I can't wait for the next
episode. I'm so excited.
It's so huge.
That was an epic ending.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, holy, like I just kept saying, holy shit, like the whole time they were swimming up. I was like, oh my god.
My hot take, honestly, was, as the armorer said, and, take it with a grain of salt, because we know that half the things that are said, in Mandalorian Creed may or may not be real things. But she said that, there's a prophecy. When the mythosaur rises again, it's going to mark a new age for the Mandalorians. My theory, anyways, is that for me, Din Djarin has and always will work best as a lone gunman, a man with no name type that goes from place to place like a drifter, maybe with a little son with him, but just making money and making his way through the galaxy. That's the way that I love Din Djarin. He's not a leader, and in my opinion, I think the age of the mythosaur and the new age of the Mandalorians, there's only one person for me that's going to lead this, and I think it's Bo-Katan. I think Bo-Katan has to lead this. I think she's going to ride the mythosaur. I think she's going to claim the Darksaber and finally earn it. Ooh. And this time attach a tether to it so it can't get lost ever, wherever she's going. But yeah, I think she's got to be the leader, and he's got to be the Mandalorian, essentially. But I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. Do you guys have any theories about where this might go between Bo and Din and all of that? I mean, because we're in exciting times now. I mean, yeah. Free for all.
I don't know what to say, because this is like I said in our first one, the trailers don't really reveal that much in terms of like the episodes. So we see like bits, we see a lot from the first two. And then there's this chase scene between TIE fighters. I assume that's Bo-Katan's ship, right? And then that's probably an episode 3 thing. But yeah, other than that, a lot of the footage from those trailers leaves a lot, or the imagination. So we'll see.
Right. It could go one way or the other. Like you said, like Bo-Katan could be the one riding the mythosaur. That would actually be very well deserved. But then what if the black saber is Mando's? And then, he's struggling with it. But then within his arc, as he kind of embraces it more, he gets better at using it. It could be kind of like, a symbolic thing.
Yeah. Like the symbol of ruling Mandalore is no longer the Darksaber. Right. It's the mythosaur,
Right.
And,
so then,
That's
a
really
bad for Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan
said, "I finally did it. Wait,
creature. Like that's a win."
Or what if he decides to just say, "Screw all this" and take up Grief Karga's offer to go live on that planet?
Why not?
I
think everybody would be disappointed if he made that choice, but it's definitely a choice that's there.
It's definitely a choice.
So you're like, I don't know, like. you know, because now he's kind of like Grogu's dad. So you also have to think about like, you know, what he wants for like a future for him. And it's like he'd have a safe place there, but I don't know.
He goes back to Navarro. He becomes the marshal. When people ask him, you know, who are you? He'll be like, I'm the new marshal. And they're like, why? And he's like, because I don't have Twitter. And now it makes it so much better. But no,
and then Moff Gideon takes a plea deal.
Right.
And then he goes back to chasing Grogu.
I don't think that's what's gonna happen. Like, I think all the fans would probably be disappointed. I mean, I wouldn't be that disappointed because I would get it. Like, it's a safe spot for him to chill out and hang with Grogu. At some point, he's probably gonna retire. I don't know, but like,
you know,
he could.
He's not there.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. You never know. I mean, do you think he'd like that lifestyle?
I don't know. You know what? I think maybe
be interesting is that if he decides it, but then he keeps getting pulled back out to like fight and things like that because he realizes that that's more his speed, you know, than living on Navarro. But that could be interesting.
Whitney, what were you gonna say?
I mean, same thing. Where I feel like, okay, if he were to be like, okay, I'm gonna settle down and just kind of retire or be the marshal and kind of, you know, be situated in this area, I don't think he could sit still for that long because he's going to get pulled to different situations, and I think that is his lifestyle, you know.
It very well could be interesting. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with Whitney that's pretty much all he knows. So
until the day that he's like, I'm getting too old for this shit, and guys, there's
an attitude.
I would love to see that.
Teenage Grogu is like, no.
Slamming doors.
You're not my dad.
You're not my dad.
You're not my real dad.
Oh my god, that'd be great.
Oh, that'd be so sad. I wouldn't want to see that ever.
No.
Guys, I would love to talk about this so much. I know that there's not much else we could talk about because it just cuts off at that wonderful cliffhanger. I'm hoping we get a chance to talk about this in a lot more depth once the story continues. But that being said, I wanted to just check to see if anyone had any final thoughts on the episode before we wrap things up. Mike Lee, I'll start with you. Any final thoughts on the episode?
It had this, you know, amazing mix of starting with a little light-hearted humor, and then all of a sudden it thrusts you into this action-packed episode with a lot of mythology, with a lot of lore and everything like that. So I'm really excited that they took it in this direction so quickly, as everyone was saying too. So
absolutely. Whitney, how about you? Final thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely loved this episode. It just action-packed. Barely the second episode, they're like, we're diving the hell in. So I'm like, oh my gosh.
Unless you're Din, then you're drowning the hell in.
Exactly.
Right.
Sorry about that. And Julie, any last final thoughts on your end?
Not particularly anything that hasn't already been said. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much they hit the ground running with this second episode, and like, so they've got a lot of room to play out whatever they're going to play out. So I'm interested to see where it goes from here.
We're living in exciting Star Wars times, people.
Yes,
indeed. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
So that's all the time that we have on Basic Binges today, guys. But for one more time, I want to give it up for our amazing panel. Julie, Whitney, Michael, you guys have been amazing. I'd love to give you guys the opportunity to tell people where to find you. Julie, I'll start with you. Where can everyone find you?
I'm on Instagram at JRaelyn, RAELYN, and then I'm on TikTok at JRayLady.
Love it.
Those are my primaries. Yeah.
Perfect. Whitney, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, find me on Instagram, whimsicalwhitney_.
Awesome. And Mike Lee, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on, I write for the Nerds of Color, that's at LA, and We Live Entertainment. And for my socials, you can find me right over here at I am Michael J. Lee.
Awesome. And and once more, I've been Mike Manalo. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TidyBullBoy182, but also writing for thenerdsofcolor.org, and that's at LA with Mike Lee, and also whattowatch.com. Make sure to tune in to Basic Binges for our next show on Monday. We will be talking about the finale of The Last of Us. One more episode with Pedro Pascal until that Tuesday where we watch the next Mando episode, because they're basically the same.
Exactly.
Where he takes care of another kid.
Yeah.
Basically.
He's Daddy Pascal.
Again.
Daddy Pascal. Yeah.
Daddy Pascal, exactly.
What will Grogu's first words be?
Cordyceps.
Cordyceps.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Oh
Yeah. Wouldn't it be hilarious if it's Daddy?
I know, that's what I'm like, Daddy.
Oh my god.
That Dag Fairy. He said
Oh,
Daddy
man.
Din.
You
If it's
did.
Dank there, Daddy, yeah, that would be amazing. But yeah, that's all the time that we have, guys. Thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning in. And until next time, everyone, this is the way. May the force be with you, and Lego my ego. Bye, guys.